Welcome to Imperfect in an Uncertain World, resources to help you navigate your life with authenticity and purpose. Let's talk about what it means to be imperfect and how that whole idea of imperfection gets us hung up. I remember when I was in high school wanting to get the best grades. I shuddered at not being perfect. So anxious about being imperfect, I shied away from activities that I feared I would not excel in. I made a decision not to play any sports. I focused solely on the academic. That was where I was comfortable and where I had a history of excelling. And I could pretend to be perfect to where, or in those situations where I was comfortable. So I kept avoiding things that might show me where I was imperfect. If I didn't do everything well, then there was that fear. If I didn't even try something that I feared, I was still perfect. No imperfections dare show up in my life. Well, not exactly. I was living in a fear-filled illusion. There were imperfections that I ignored until I could not. And then my world came crashing down upon me. So we all have illusions. Some of us don't have them as drastic, and probably some of us have them even worse than I had them. In fact, most of us have lived this imperfectly at one time or another, that we felt like we were one step ahead of our imperfections, when in fact they were running along right alongside of us. We had only to turn to the left or the right to see them. Of course, as with all illusions, mine could not be maintained. And at some point I fell from that carefully crafted illusion, that carefully crafted tower. And the crash into my imperfections wasn't pretty. I can now admit that my imperfections are many. Let me share one of them. I tend to speak the truth without forethought. People know if they're going to ask me something, I'm going to tell them the truth. Well, although my words are true, the way that I present them can be viewed as harsh and unfeeling. So I'm operating from judgments, assumptions, and biases that contribute to the edge of my words. Sometimes because I'm an empath, that I'm just overwhelmed by the emotions and I want people to open their eyes and see. And that gets me into trouble too, because I speak the truth, but not in a loving, gentle, compassionate way. My words become reactionary and I cause a cascade of another's triggers. So no matter how truthful I believe my words to be, I recognize that there is a better way to relay my thoughts. So I've recognized my imperfection is not the fact that I'm truthful, it's the way that I share that truth. And then I begin to discover ways that I can share my truth in loving, gentle, honest ways, full of integrity that does not harm or hurt another person. I would also say that the same is true of our actions. We may believe that we are responding from our authentic self, when in reality, we are reacting from a bias or judgment. We may really believe that we are being authentic. Instead, we are harshly critical. And that criticism is a reflection of our imperfections. So what do? We practice A3 awareness. We're awake, we're alert, and we're alive. So what does that mean? Okay, so we all get up in the morning. We're not sleepwalking through the day. We're awake. But this is a special kind of awakeness. We're awake to what is happening. We are mindful of how the world's unfolding and the potential for us to get stuck by our triggers. We're alert, are vigilant to how our words, thoughts, and actions are impacting the world. We are alert to how we are compassionate and how we are hurtful. We are also alert to opportunities to share compassion with the world, which brings us to the third A. We are alive to the situation. Now, you might be saying, okay, Vanessa, you know what? We breathe, we're alive. This is more than that. We are really engaged in what is happening. And so if we are awake and alert and we take advantage of this, we are alive to the moment. And so that's what A3 awareness is. It will help us see where our imperfections are and provide the potential to choose not to react from those. Let me be clear though, our imperfections are not our reactions. They are the seeds of our reactions. They are revealed in our judgments, assumptions, and biases. Our imperfections are what hook us and stop us from change. So, in order for us to transform, we acknowledge our imperfections. And I tell people, you know what? You never have to go acknowledge your imperfections to another person. You can acknowledge that imperfection to yourself. We listen to what our imperfections have to say to us. So instead of kicking ourselves because we've done something wrong, we're not on the right track, 10,000 ways that we're going to judge ourselves, we listen. What is the imperfection saying? What is the message of the imperfection? What can I learn from the imperfection? And that is the next. Our imperfections are our life lessons. They ask us to learn from them so that we can move on, so that we can be a better, more authentic person. And then the last thing that we do is to let them go. We reframe or rescript our life in ways that we create a different way of being. We lessen the impact of that imperfection until the imperfection or that habit is gone. That's the power of our imperfections. They're not something to be hidden or shied away. They're something that we should courageously confront and with curious daring find ways to resolve them and move on. It's not enough to acknowledge an imperfection. That's not going to work. You've got to move on from it. So I want to thank you for watching this video. Like it, share it with your friends, give it a thumbs up, but most importantly, learn from your imperfections. If you're ready to learn more, contact me about intuitive coaching. Have a terrific day.